Welcome to episode 2 of the Don't Suck at Video podcast. I'm LaRovere.
And my name is Joseph Mba.
So we had a little topic today, right?
Yes. So this episode, I wanted to lead off kind of talking about something that I ended the previous episode with, which is do not give up on your dreams. Let me say it this way, do not stop dreaming. And what I mean by that is I've been going through this personally because I, for the longest time, have found myself not in the best place. I would say for the past 4 years, honestly, I've not been in the best place when it comes to how I see my dreams and my aspirations and my craft. And I've just been going on a journey, questioning a lot of things. And so to kind of give a little bit of a background, 4 years ago, which is 2018, I reached a place that at the time I believed, oh man, yeah, this is like, there's been a couple of those in my career where I'm like, yo, this is it. This move right here is going to take me to the next level, right? This is going to change. He's going to be the next, I step on this and then I'm going to go to the next place. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those things didn't necessarily turn out the way that I was hoping, but they never went so bad. But in this particular situation, not going to mention names, but it was the worst one for me because of two things. There's many reasons, but two main things. One, that year my mom passed. Which my mom was, she was the foundation for a lot of the things that she inspired me to become a filmmaker. Like I was going to go into the military and be a pilot and, I was going a completely different direction. And one day I came home from school. I remember this day, it was hot that day. It was Palm Springs, California. It was hot summer day. And I walked in the garage and she stopped me in the garage and I was hot, sweating. And she's like, Joe, this military thing that you're doing, I don't see that this is what God has for you. I see that, it's something that comes naturally to you, that you should go soul search and think about what it is that you want to do with the rest of your life that comes natural and easy to you. And long story short, I ended up going into filmmaking and music, right? But I put music on the side because I felt like in the moment of making that decision, it was weird. The moment of making that decision, I was conscious, I felt kind of ashamed to pick music as a career because of the just negative things I've heard from other people regarding being an artist and being in the music industry. So
yeah, definitely a reputation.
In that moment, I felt like, okay, being a filmmaker had more like a prestige to it. So then I chose filmmaking, and then I put music as a hobby. So I never stopped making music. I was making music at the same time I was making filmmaking journey. So where I'm going with this is, so my mom was my foundation, and she taught me a lot, and her passing kind of threw me off balance. And in that moment, when she passed, that whole time period, I started to realize that there was a lot I had been doing to myself that was not bad. And this particular point of my life, it all came crashing, right? Because I was working myself to death. I was taking any and every opportunity I could get. I was just doing too much. You know what I'm saying? I was doing way too much. I was borderline just abusing myself. And so when she passed, I went to New York and dealt with a lot of personal drama stuff with my mom's side of the family, and then came back. Still the same summer, I hopped on the set of a feature film, and that feature film was crazy, and it still today haven't come out. Then from there, I hopped in to direct another movie, write and direct another movie. We write and directed it, and I was finishing that movie and pre-production.
Write it and direct it and do post-production.
And do 80%, 60% of the crew work on that movie. It was cold. It was miserable. It was me. Basically, the crew members was me, my wife, and one other person, Remy. And it was insane. And we were finishing that movie, pre-production for another movie, and it was just crazy. I was like working. And
I kind of helped here and there. I think I was working full time.
Yes, you were working full time and then doing Army Reserve.
Yeah. So honestly, the couple times I was on set, I was just like, I'm happy to help, but I'm glad I don't have to stick around because it was like one of the nights I showed up in the middle of nowhere. I can't remember where we were at that ranch or whatever.
Yes.
And it was dark and it was cold and they were just shooting all night.
And man, there was a lot. And
that whole movie was basically at night.
Basically, no, the whole
night shooting sucks.
Like 90% of the movie was at night, and the conditions were about that same. Anyway, not to dig too much into one particular thing, but after that whole experience and the person I was working with and everything that was going through, I found myself in a very unhealthy place mentally, spiritually, physically. I felt the worst I've ever felt in my life, and I realized that I needed to make a change. And I started making that change with those three things I talked about: spiritually, physically, mentally, all of it. So I started that journey.
You were kind of heavier then too, right?
I was, yes. I was what you would consider skinny fat. Everything else was skinny, but my belly was. That long ago? Yeah, it was 4 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's a lot that happened, and I can't cover it all in one podcast. But I wanted to mention that 2018 was the catalyst that started me going on the journey. And right this moment, as of I would say a week ago, I really nailed down, oh man, okay, what I had been doing to myself was ultimately causing me to get to a place where I was going to just call it quits and say, hey, I'm done with all of this, right? But just like our previous episode, what I had to realize is it's no one's fault but mine. I am the one that put myself in all those situations. And I put myself in a place where I could no longer just dream and pursue my dream for the joy of dreaming and pursuing my dreams. And I was struggling through it. So I wanted to start this episode to say to anyone, if you find yourself in that place where you feel like you're going to give up, you feel like things are not working your way, first of all, it's okay. I've gone through it, but I just want to let you know that what helped me is just knowing that I don't want to give up. I love what I do. I love my dreams. I love all of it. At least I remember that I do, and I just held on to it, and I just kept going until I figured it out. So do not give up. Just hold on. Keep learning. Keep growing. You will eventually figure it out, and things will start to make sense and work out for you. So that's how I wanted to start this podcast. I know it's kind of long-winded to get to it, but
part of that is the things that you don't know. So you feel kind of lost, like you don't know where you're going. You just kind of putting one foot in front of the other blindly. But over time, you do start to learn and better understand a lot of things, and the more you understand, the more clarity you have, the easier it is to continue. Because when you don't have any clarity on what's going on and what your path forward is,
it's so much more painful. For me, it came in the form of me taking any and every opportunity.
Right.
One of the biggest things I had to learn is not every opportunity is good opportunity.
Right. Well, it's not for you. Every opportunity comes with an opportunity cost.
So that's specifically that was a lesson in all of itself. Opportunity cost. There's. I'm so sorry. I'm all heated about it.
I mean, that's a huge thing because there are a lot of things that especially when we started out, and I'm sure it's the case for all sorts of industries and all sorts of people, but there are certain things that you do or opportunities that you see them as opportunities, you take them, you do them. And they're kind of rough sometimes. They're not necessarily financially the best for you, right? Like in life, just in general, usually people if you start off with a minimum wage job, it's not that great.
Right.
You just, you're learning things, you're kind of doing what you have to do. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But over time, you learn that, okay, well, if I say yes to doing this this project right here, now I have whatever amount of time you're going to spend on that. Now that's time that you can't spend on other things.
Correct.
So you have to be thinking,
Absolutely.
well, what could you be spending that time on? But sometimes it is just best to take that project. But you have to, like, as you go, let's say you do a couple of projects that are very taxing, you didn't really make any money, but you learned a lot. And now you're at a point, you know what? Next time something like that comes along, maybe I should really stop and think about whether I should be doing that, or I should trade in that experience that I earned through hard work and look for a different
leverage
opportunity.
it for something better. Yeah, like, man, learning about opportunity cost and learning the true value of your time is important. And for me, it was scary because, and then maybe it might be scary for other people, because you can get in this place in your mind where you're like, everyone, you want to make money. You need to make money. Your bills are due when your bills are due, and that's life, right?
Right.
So you can
sometimes you have to just deal with that.
You just have to. And like, but you don't. I got in the place where I told myself, man, I don't want to take opportunities because I need to pay a bill. Like, really evaluate the opportunity for what it can be. And where, like, if it's the right opportunity for me, even if it means that oh man, I might struggle a little bit with finances for a little bit, but at the end of it, I'm gonna be in a much better place. I'm gonna be happier. I'm gonna be more fulfilled. I'm gonna learn a lot. I'm gonna grow, and eventually the finances will come. I just learned how to evaluate opportunities much better, and like, just see when opportunities come to me. Now I'm like, is this like, the way I describe it is the right low cost opportunity for me?
Yeah.
Right? Because costly opportunities doesn't just mean finances. It means your time. It means your health, your energy, your well-being, your overall happiness as a human being. Like, one of the worst things for me, like, I realized what I was doing to myself for, I don't know, 12 years. Was paying opportunity cost that was very costly. And the biggest cost that you can pay is your happiness as a human being. Like, don't sacrifice your well-being and your happiness because of an opportunity. That's what I learned, and that's what I took for myself. So I don't care.
Well, sometimes you might even, I mean, in my opinion, pass up a well-paying project, for example, or well-paying job, because I mean, here's a great example, like non-video related, but like really high-end attorneys. There are, they work. I mean, they make insane amounts of money. Like, as far as high-paying jobs go, there you go. But the number of hours, the sheer amount of hours and stress level that they have to contend with on a daily basis,
like, is it worth it?
60, 80 plus hours a week. Like, that being your entire life, high stress, extremely high pressure, day in and day out. Like, is that worth it? I mean, to me, at a certain point, I'm like, you know what? I have family, I have friends, I have things. I'd rather make half as much money.
Right. And here's the thing.
Have time to spend with people.
What I've learned, again, back to you being the problem, is that I just realized I was actually being lazy in that situation, because if opportunity one seems like the obvious choice, right? Because I make money and whatever the reason is, but if I let that go and apply myself to really searching for the right type of opportunity, like, finding the right type of opportunity would take time, would take growth, would take, you know what I'm saying?
Like, so that you might have to pass up some work.
Yes.
For some of that work in order to work on developing yourself, or like on marketing.
That's what I'm talking about. Like,
that's not going to give you immediate results, but it's something you have to do.
But you do that long enough and well enough, it would eventually give birth to your ideal type of life. And that's the journey I'm currently on right now. It's like, I am not taking because right now I could be off here shooting this, off here doing this, because I have the resume to do so, and I have the equipment to do so, but I stop myself from taking certain opportunities because I'm like, I think my time is better spent doing these other things that
we do that with each other too. Even.
Correct.
Like, hey, can you help me on this thing? Well, I'd you know, because we're pretty open with each other, so it's like, yeah, well, I'd rather not because I have some other stuff that's important I need to take care of. Like,
100%.
so we pass that up and just, you know, we find someone else to help.
Specific example, so, Nick had a shoot.
Well, the book trailer.
Yeah, there you go.
That I mentioned in the last episode.
Right, the book trailer that he was working on, I helped them like a very small amount, but the actual shoot itself, I couldn't help him because
pretty time consuming.
It was pretty time consuming, and I was like, okay, man, there's other things I could spend my time doing that's not gonna pay me right now. Pay me later,
but it will pay you much more later.
Later, so I'm like, okay, I think I'd much rather do those things, and not feel guilty for. That's the other thing is like. Man, the guilt I used to put on myself for like not taking opportunities. Oh my God, I've let this person down. Oh my God, I'm not helping my friend. My friend will hate me now. The industry will shut me out. Whatever the reason I was giving myself is not true. It's not true. My friend is still my friend. The industry is still there. When you're done with the thing you're working on and you present it, like, you know, so just,
and there's the energy cost, like we talked about too, is one of the opportunity costs, because it was a long, hard day of shooting. So now it's like, does that interfere with your plans for the next week?
Right.
When you have a Saturday
now you're
from like sun up to sundown.
You're burnt out. You're burnt out, and
when maybe you needed to rest, you have a hard week the next week.
Man,
I mean, it's something to think about, you know.
So funny, not funny, but like around the same time period that I didn't take that current opportunity, it allowed me time to sit at home and think and really evaluate certain things, and that ultimately led to me reaching out to someone on social media, and I've shared this with you, and I think it's around that same time frame. Was it? When did you do the book trailer shoot?
It's been like 3 weeks. Something like that.
Okay, maybe not so much, but around that same time frame, it allowed me to do something that created an opportunity that gave birth like a week or two later to an opportunity that I otherwise wouldn't have had right now. And it's like, as I'm evaluating this current opportunity further, is looking more and more like, okay, this is a great low cost opportunity for me. So like you just never know. Rather take the chance to do the things that will give birth to the life that you want.
The next step,
Yes, versus the immediate, oh man, I'm gonna take this thing because that's what, you know, I need to pay a bill. Because taking high opportunity cost stuff would ultimately cause you to give up on your dreams. That's where I'm going with the whole thing. Because eventually,
if you say yes to everything, you'll be totally overwhelmed.
I mean, think about it like this: if you are actually paying literal dollars for every opportunity that you took, eventually you'll go broke. Right. So if you're doing that with your passion and your dream, eventually you get burnt out because you've spent everything that you have.
I mean, that kind of is like the idea of somebody who just says yes to everything. Like there are a number of people who have a problem. They have a real difficulty with just saying no to people in general who ask them for help, and you know, usually those people are just like, their personality is very nice, helpful. Like they want to be a team player. Like they want to help people. And it can go too far, and now they say yes to everything. And I'm a little bit like that too. So I've had to really like learn to like think before I commit myself to something. I have to think like, what am I actually committing to here? Like, what's the breadth and depth of what I'm committing to? Like the amount of effort, time, actual cost to me, like, and in terms of dollars or like just time, and think. What other commitments have I made? Because it's not even just a purely selfish thing or like purely about me, but if I have already made commitments to any number of people, like in my personal life, family, friends, I promised my friend I'd go help him, you know, do some work on his house, and also clients. Like I've promised to deliver certain work to X number of clients within a given time period. If I if I just say yes to every opportunity and everything, everything someone asks, then now I'm in a position where I have to break promises I've now given out to people.
Right.
I have
exactly.
I'm going to fail in
and
those
that's
commitments.
worse. It's worse to like retract.
Yeah.
Things once you've given it out. But also on that note, that's one of the things I've had to learn to. It's more difficult to retract, but I've learned to be okay to go back and
be
retract
honest,
something.
like,
yes.
I shouldn't have committed to this. I didn't have.
What's today's date? So the 22nd. Yeah. Okay, so check this out. Little example. There was an opportunity, really cool opportunity that came up for me to open up for a well-established artist, and it required me traveling to another state. And me and my wife were planning all of this thing, but then in between, life stuff started happening. Business stuff started happening, and I evaluated. I just like stepped back and saw the direction where everything is going, and I realized, man, if I take this thing on, it's gonna prevent me financially, time-wise, all of that from doing a bunch of little things. So this was like one big thing that may result in something bigger, but I saw it and I'm like, man, it would be better for me to do these smaller things and spread my resources to those things. And one of those things is doing this podcast. Like literally, if I was to be opening for that artist, I will not be here today because I would need to be there today to sound check and all of that stuff for the show tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Like literally like that. And I wouldn't have shot the music video we did.
Yeah, we shot a music video yesterday.
I've done
and that's
so
a
much.
lot of that's some solid work.
Yes, this month has been incredibly productive for me because I've learned to navigate my opportunities better. Yes, so
that's great.
So and it's a shocker, right? I did all of that, and I feel happier.
Yeah.
I feel like I walked in today and I was like, man, I feel great. As a person, I feel better. I feel happier, and I'm just more pleasant to be around than I have been for the past God knows how long. You know what I'm saying? So that's what don't give up on your dream. Don't put yourself in positions to give up on your dream. Don't take every opportunity that comes to you. Don't chase money. Yeah. Do it because it's the right opportunity that will create the life that you're looking for.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I want to add a couple things.
Please go ahead.
The don't chase money thing, like the opportunity cost, it's not all just about money. It's not all just about career stuff. It's life stuff.
Life, man.
And like you said,
that was my biggest,
not committing to too many people so that now you fall through on other things. That's a life thing. That's a relationships thing. And the other thing is, like, for example, I have turned down work because I planned a backpacking trip. Like, since video work is generally gig based, you don't know when things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I had already committed to a trip, but also that time with those friends is very valuable to me. Yes. So the opportunity cost of that bit of money, like at that point in time, I was not in a place where I had to take it. So I gave it up. Dude. I said, no, that's fine. I'll give it to somebody else. Like, I'm going to go on the backpacking trip with my friends. Dude. That's more important to me at that time.
Man, so. You saying that and I was just getting flashes of this used to be me. I will be in the middle of a family get together. Like I'm talking like Thanksgiving. I'm not like I was this crazy. I'm talking like I'm really important celebrations, and I will get a text message from someone, hey, you want to come shoot a $200 music video? I will leave my family, leave everybody, be like, yo, I'm sorry, I gotta go. And I'll run off because of the sake of, yo, I'm hustling, I'm doing all this stuff. And here's the kicker, right? Man. I will pack my equipment, get in the car, drive like a whole hour to this person, the location, shoot the whole video, only for the rapper to turn around and tell me, yo, bro, I'm sorry, man. Like, I ain't get paid yet. And I'm saying, like, when we get together, and I'm saying, when I doesn't care about your time, we're finna eat. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna pay me. So basically, I paid what $25 in gas to come shoot your video. So I $25 in gas, my time, whatever so I paid you basically. Really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. Those are the kinds of things I used to do to myself, and this is the mild version. I've done stupider things.
Both of us now, like we're very committed to having time set aside for our family and our friends, like, and for it to not be disrupted. There's really not a whole lot of things that you could be doing other than spending time with them, and like that is gonna be worth it.
Yo, dude,
rarely,
man.
Rarely.
I love coming to work here, going to projects, doing all this stuff, and going home to my wife. And the beautiful thing is that my wife does everything with me. So like we love just go and do the work, and then go home and spend time.
That's great.
And then go see family and like do things that have a balanced life. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on it because like
that's
today
I
want to come in and like record. I want to do a song. I want to do this podcast, record a song, do this and do that. And then in the middle of it, I was like, I'm going to do the podcast and I'm going to
cut loose. Yeah.
So,
the last
but
thing.
It takes growth. It takes learning.
Yes. It takes time.
It takes
it's a constant battle.
Do not give up. That's my whole thing. Don't give up. Just keep freaking going. You will figure it out eventually. Like I promise.
The very last thing that I had was I thought about my job. And my entire job that was paying for my life it's also an opportunity cost.
Dude.
Because I think that's the thing about like going full time with business. So I worked full time for the Army National Guard for several years, and that was a great opportunity. I learned tons. I was paid well for it, and that was great. Like I had some great mentors. I improved as a human. But at a certain point, the opportunity cost, because I was working on my business on the side, the opportunity cost to be at that job every day, knowing that I will have to be there at a set schedule that's extremely inflexible without the ability to do a lot of things, and opportunity cost as far as spending time with friends and family, because I also had to work 1 week in a month. Guaranteed, and sometimes more.
And just
then the gigs.
And I was on the side hearing him having to like give up
all sorts of
all sorts of things, and I'm like,
there was
dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, and I would hear him like battling back and forth with his schedule. Like he would be like, hey, if I came in here and did this, can you give me this? They're like, no. I'm like, what? Like, it was pretty unreasonable.
And it's military, so of course, like. Being inflexible that's part of it, because it just is what it is. But so at a certain point, that opportunity cost of being there and being unable to take on additional opportunities for my business, now it was like, okay, well, let me take some time, let me save up, and now it's time to transition over, because it's costing me too much to pass up all these opportunities.
Right.
So, so that was
at the point of transitioning, and at the point of you deciding to not take on those high cost opportunities, I'm just gonna tell you, you might be afraid, like you might be petrified. He was afraid, and I was afraid, but man, I
was still afraid like after the first few months, because all the money that I had saved in order just in case. I absolutely needed it 100%.
Right, but then guess what? So I'm gonna talk about you, and I'm gonna talk about myself. How many months are you into it now? Almost a year.
13 months.
13 months. Okay, more than a year.
13.
And he is not only surviving, he's thriving, and he's continuing to grow. Right, and I've seen. I hope I'm not exaggerating, but aren't you making same or more than what you were making at the military currently? If you take the average
revenue, it's more than double.
There you go.
So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And
before taxes, just overall.
All of them. Just if you look at the numbers, and that's one of the things I started doing to myself is like, hey, look at the facts and like actually examine them and weigh things out. And like the facts for me is, Joe, since you made the decision to go full time and chase your dreams, this is my 7th or 8th year doing it. I haven't had a day job. I haven't had to do all of that stuff. I have bills and car and house and all this stuff, and I had to at some point pull myself aside. I'm like, yo, Joe, the facts right now is that your dream is paying for you to just live as a human being,
which is amazing,
and that is amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be afraid.
God has provided for us as well. Like we put in the hard work, but those opportunities, we don't create them.
We don't.
They're provided to us. So.
They're provided,
and that's been the case
also,
for me making the switch to full time.
There's God provides plenty of animals in the forest and plenty of vegetation, but not all of them is for you to eat.
Right.
So the same thing with opportunities. God might provide multiple opportunities, but not all of them is for you.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's cool.
God gave you poison ivy to eat. Well, good for you, sir. Good for you.
I don't think so.
It's a vegetation. God made it, so I'm going to eat it. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
All right.
You guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.